Okay. Good evening, Concord Township, and I'm going to call to order the Concord Township Board of Trustee meeting for October 7th, 2020. Please join me in rising for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Rose, the roll call, please.
Mr. McIntosh.
Present.
Mrs. Lucci.
Present.
Mr. Dondorfer.
Present. Okay, we are going to move into the approval of the minutes for the September 16th, 2020 regular Board of Trustees meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the minutes for September 16th meeting as written.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving into the elected officials report. Amy Dawson is not with us tonight. Our fiscal officer giving her report will be our administrator, Mr. Andy Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Dondorfer. The fiscal officer's report, as of September 30th, we were 75% of the way through the calendar year. The treasury balance for the 19 active funds within the township treasury was $7.0 million. The treasury balance includes $854,264 in funds set aside for specific projects. Year-to-date expenditures were 60% of the amount appropriated for 2020. The revenue received year-to-date is 92% of the amount budgeted for. This includes the second half of our 2019 real estate taxes. We are well within budget. We will not be receiving real estate tax revenue again until the end of the first quarter of 2021. As always, Mrs. Dawson is available to answer any questions, so please don't hesitate to email her at adawson@concordtwp.com, or you can call the finance office at 354-7516. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Okay, the trustees report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did field some calls from residents regarding the fire station project, cleared up some misinformation. I did receive a few calls about some issues with neighborhood not cutting grass and kind of dealing with that. Our zoning director is helping with that information as well. And I think the biggest thing is, are we having Halloween? So I've had so many people call me, and I did confirm that we are having Halloween trick-or-treating on the 31st. It is a Saturday this year, so reminding people to slow down because there's probably going to be a lot of kids out. So, and the last thing is I did attend an OTA webinar on CARES Act funding. That's it.
Mr. McIntosh.
Yep, just been a couple of water issues got going on in the township. Actually, ironically, a very similar water issue in two different places. Been talking with residents on that, be working with zoning and stormwater on that. I know we've also fielded some calls regarding some questions with fences and HOA regulations versus township regulations. Had a meeting last week with a prospective business that's looking to locate in Concord Township. Would be somebody potentially joining the JED. That went very well. I was pretty excited. Carl, we got to see the Lucky's grocery store.
Yes,
that was a pretty exhilarating visit. It's a lot to look forward to as far as what's coming with Concord Township. Still fielding some questions and issues regarding Parkside Elementary and that joining the Summerwood neighborhood. And just like the rest of us, we've been fielding a lot of questions about the fire station. And I did have the opportunity to speak at the candidates forum yesterday afternoon. So when that's posted, I encourage folks to take a look.
Thank you. Yes, I had some contact with a few residents who called me regarding some zoning issues in Concord Township that we're working with. I did visit with one resident in Concord, reference a neighbor issue and a property line dispute that I think we got worked out. And we addressed some issues with some speeding that was going on Girdle Road. I guess we're working on a speed study there in a certain area of Girdle Road that has a limited line of sight. So we're working with the Lake County Engineer's Office. We had some interaction with them this week regarding that speed study. So see if we're going to work towards a reduction in speed in that area. And yeah, the Lucky's Mart, we're really impressed with that. The Saltzman family great family. The store, I think, has a unique and great vibe, and I think it's going to be a great fit in Concord Township. I was really impressed with the store and everything that they had to offer there. I think our residents are really going to love that and really enjoy shopping there.
Yeah, I was really impressed with it as well, and I think the thing that was fun to know is that the store that we looked at was 10 to 15% smaller than the Concord footprint. So they're going to be able to do a lot of things with the store, and they're very excited about making changes to it. I know that this is a brand differentiation they were looking to do, and Lucky's gave them the avenue to do that, and they're reworking the plans to make it match Lucky's. So
it's going to have its own unique vibe and feel to it, and it's not going to have that chain sort of feel to it. It's gonna be great. So I was really impressed, and thank you to the Saltzman family for our tour on that. Moving out of the trustees' reports to department reports, and we'll start with Mr. Rose, our administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Dondorfer. One quick thing, there was a significant water main break on Prouty Road near the Montessori School. Aqua Ohio is out there. The repairs are a little more severe and are going to take longer than expected. They'll probably last until late tonight, maybe into the early hours of the morning. And they are diverting traffic. Prouty Road is currently closed at that section. So they should get the water back on before morning, and then we'll work on the road repair. We'll coordinate with the county, since that's a county road, to make sure that the road repairs get taken care of right away. The only other thing I have is from the cemetery sexton regarding fall cleanup of the Concord Township Cemetery. November 1st will be the next gravesite clean out. We've got signs that'll be posted near the exits 2 weeks for the 2 weeks prior. You are allowed one artificial decoration per occupied gravesite from November 15th through March 31st. I would wait 2 weeks to make sure removal has been completed before placing a new decoration. You are also permitted to have one steel rod hanger, a shepherd's hook, per monument. We ask that they're placed flush at the side of the monument, and they must have a visible decoration on the hook. With winter coming, wooden crosses are permitted. They shall not exceed 24 inches above the ground, 12 inches wide, and they're temporarily permitted to mark the location of grave sites under the following circumstances: where if a permanent monument has not yet been placed, or to mark any monument that is under 18 inches tall from November 15th to March 31st. And then finally, a reminder about columbarium decorations. Columbarium decorations are not permitted on the individual niches, and funeral flowers, live or artificial, and any other decorations at the time of burial can be left for up to 3 days. We then remove those after 3 days. If anybody has any questions, you can contact the cemetery office at 440-354-7518. That concludes my report, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Moving on to our fire department, Chief Sabo.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
For the month of September, we had a total of 163 events, including 124 EMS calls with 101 transports to our local hospitals. We had 3 fire events, all in Concord, including 2 vehicle fires and 1 grill fire. We gave mutual aid 14 times and received mutual aid 16 times. Our Fire Prevention Bureau completed 42 inspections, accounting for about 70 hours. They had 24 past inspections, 9 passed with comments, 2 passed with discrepancies, and 3 follow-up inspections. We also have 4 pending, and they completed 2 plan reviews. They accounted for 12 hours of training and continuing education, and also assisted in the investigation, a fire investigation to a mutual aid company. For public education, we installed 4 residential lock boxes and 1 was returned. I just want to remind the Concord residents that the fire department is here to help 24/7, 365. We're still getting comments, when we're out and about, that people are still concerned about calling 911 amid concerns of COVID. I want people to be rest assured that we're there and taking every precaution that we can to provide for your safety, but ultimately having us respond is the best way to get you treated and help you make a decision in terms of transport. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate that. Moving on to Service Department, Tim Brown, our Service Director. Good evening, Mr. Brown.
Good evening. The Service Department has been taking advantage of the good weather and continues to Durapatch our asphalt roadways and perform concrete slab replacement throughout the township. Our other crews have been out doing ditch maintenance, culvert replacements, and snow barricade installs. I'd like to remind the residents that if you'd like to have a snow barricade, give the Service Department a call and fill out the proper permit you can find on the website, and we'll get that taken care of for you. Our Equipment Maintenance Department has begun to ready the equipment for the upcoming winter season. We continue to work alongside the Lake County Stormwater Department to assist with stormwater issues throughout the township. The Service Department also installed do not litter signs along the state routes as you enter into the township and are awaiting permits for the county maintained roads for installing those also. The Service Department continues to provide the yard waste dumpster at the Service Department until November 30th. The annual brush day drop-off will take place October 17th from 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. This year will be a little bit different due to the COVID-19. We ask residents to stay in their vehicles and allow our crew to unload the brush. This will keep everyone socially distanced and safe. The annual yard waste collection will take place on November 23rd, beginning at 6 a.m. All residents should have their paper yard waste bags at the curb for pickup by 6 a.m. on the 23rd. Major waste will begin collection that morning and should finish that day. There will not be any additional days for pickup. The Service Department would like to wish residents a safe and enjoyable fall season and remind residents with any questions or concerns, they can give us a call at 440-350-3225 or email us at concordtwp.com. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thanks, Tim.
On to zoning with Heather Freeman, our zoning director.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So during the month of September, the zoning department processed 37 zoning permit applications and collected $5,900 in fees. Of that, 10 permits were for accessory buildings, 8 were for single-family dwellings, 4 fences, and the remaining were split between different types of pools and other yard structures. Year to date, we processed a total of 289 zoning permits, of which 45 were for new dwellings. Additionally, last month our office performed 94 inspections for open zoning permits and followed up on 11 new zoning complaints. Next week, our Board of Zoning Appeals will hold public hearings for 2 variance requests. Both are related to the number of accessory buildings permitted on a parcel. The detailed agenda can be found on the township's website under the Public Meetings tab. Finally, there still is some time to respond to the 2020 census. So if your household still has not responded, please go to my2020census.gov and do so. It's quick and easy, and the questionnaire will take you 10 minutes or less. The last day to respond at this point is October 31st. So thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Thanks, Heather.
On to recreation, Deborah Esker.
Good evening, everybody.
I'm glad you're back. I didn't know if I could do this 2 months in a row.
I don't think he
appreciate
could
that.
follow you for a second.
I
No.
appreciate
You
that.
did very well in the month you were
He
back.
did. He does me proud often. Happy fall, everybody. Who can resist a crisp fall, beautiful day in Concord Township? If you're ready to get out and try something new, Concord Township Recreation Department has you covered. Rick, fire up the PowerPoint, please. October leisure classes offered through the Recreation Department include Baton for Kids, that's a new one, tennis lessons for kids at the Concord Hills Park, martial arts for adults and kids, Pound, which is that exercise class using weighted drumsticks, Tai Chi, Yoga Pilates Fusion, painting a sunflower masterpiece, making jack-o'-lanterns using chalk and paper art, creating a stained glass keepsake box, learning how to get better sleep, learning the popular game of American Mahjong, getting started with Medicare, getting ready for retirement. And we continue to offer virtual piano lessons for adults and ukulele lessons for teens and adults. Senior socials at the Concord Community Center occur the first and third Wednesday of each month. They are a great way to meet new friends and enjoy something different. Everyone's invited to attend, but seating is limited and pre-registration is required. Earlier this afternoon, local entertainer Susan Canavino thrilled and delighted our audience while describing the experiences of the 6 wives of Henry VIII, and she came in costume. It was magnificent. Our next senior social is an afternoon of painting seasonal masterpiece while sipping punch at the Concord Community Center at our annual Paint and Punch program on October 21st. Again, seating is limited and residents are encouraged to call soon to reserve their spot. New this fall is our Won't You Meet Your Neighbor series presented by Dan Maxon, our own Old Stone School docent. This month, Dan leads residents on a full afternoon of adventure and inspiration as he takes us on a hike to Concord's own Chair Factory Falls. Immediately after, he shares some of his vast knowledge of several of Concord Township's beloved artifacts at the community center in his presentation called Every Artifact Tells a Story. These programs are free, but again, spots are limited and pre-registration is required. The Recreation Department will host another American Red Cross blood drive at the community center on Friday, October 9th, this Friday, noon to 7. Sign up at www.redcrossblood.org and type in sponsor code CONCORDCC, or simply call us and we can schedule the appointment for you. So far, we've hosted 4 blood drives and have exceeded our goal each time thanks to the generosity of our donors. Let's keep this momentum going in October and keep helping those in need as we head into the holiday season. And just a friendly reminder that we continue to adhere to state and local safety guidelines and continue to employ universal precautions at the community center. Every time you enter the community center, you must sign a logbook located at our entrance. Rental room capacity is still limited and tables must be placed 6 feet apart. Guests at rentals or people participating in meetings and programs should keep in mind social distancing guidelines and wear masks. We're happy to welcome people to the community center in a safe and appropriate way, and we thank residents and guests for their continued cooperation. And speaking of the community center, here we go. Our service department has been hard at work pouring brand new concrete walkways in front of the community center this week, and it looks fantastic. I have had the privilege of witnessing the crew work constantly and tirelessly in record time to get the job done with precision and efficiency. I am in awe of the masterful way they do their work, and so very thankful for all they do for the Recreation Department and for the community. Great job, guys. It looks so good. I'm excited to welcome everybody to the community center to see it. The annual Candidates and Issues Forum was videotaped yesterday without an audience in the interest of public health and will be made available for on-demand viewing on the township website next week. We'll also post a link to the video on our social media platforms, including Facebook. The Lake County League of Women Voters will also share the video, and candidates can add that link to their sites. It's a great way to put a face to the name and to listen intently to hear the facts on the issues you care about. And it's October, so that means little ghosts and goblins are counting down the days until it's candy overload time, and Concord Township is all in for some family-friendly fun. So celebrate Halloween this year on a hunt for treats around beautiful Concord Township on Thursday, October 29th from 6 to 8 p.m. Kids and parents are encouraged to dress up in costumes and hop in their car to follow a treasure map to collect treats around the township. Families drive to specific locations and remain in their car as they are handed treats at each stop. And I have to tell you, I've been working with the volunteers at each location, and they're coming up with some pretty creative ways to get the treats in the cars. So this should be fun for everyone. Drivers are asked to pay close attention to the entrance and exits at each location and drive slowly and safely to each location as well as within the parking lots. And we'll have lots of staff on hand to help that run smoothly. The Halloween hunt will proceed regardless of the weather, so please dress appropriately. There are 8 locations in the hunt this year: St. Gabriel Church, Hope Ridge Church, the Community Center, Vista Springs, Quail Highlands, Gristmill Village, including Panini's, the Goddard School, Concord Alliance Church, and the Concord Township Town Hall campus. And this map is available on our website, by the way, for download. Families can start at any of the locations, and be sure to visit all of them between 6 and 8 p.m. on Thursday, October 29th. And again, families are reminded to stay in their car and drive safely and slowly through each location. Please do not park or get out of your car at Gristmill Village like we've done in the past. The businesses are all going to be there ready to toss the treats into the car in creative ways. Feel free to contact the Recreation Department with any questions, or if you need further details about the Halloween hunt at 440-639-4650. And as Trustee Lucci said a little bit earlier, good old-fashioned door-to-door community trick-or-treating is set for Halloween night, Saturday, October 31st from 6 to 8 p.m. throughout Concord Township. Please be safe, use common sense, and watch out for those little goblins and ghosts. It's easy to stay informed on township happenings. Start by reading the township newsletter, the Concord Grapevine. It includes our fall class schedule, modified senior programs, and a preview of what our holiday family events are going to look like. Other ways to stay informed include subscribing to our monthly email newsletter, the eGrapevine, downloading the Concord app, or visiting our highly informative website. Follow us on social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or simply pick up the phone and call any department for immediate assistance. And I had to go here. Lastly, risking the bemoaning of just about everyone in the room tonight, I'd like to proudly announce that the Recreation Department is planning a few fabulous and festive programs for the holiday season, which I'm pretty sure begins the day after Halloween. So look for more information on our website and social media platforms within the next few months for our fabulous festive programs. So thank you very much for your time tonight, and take care, everybody.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thanks, Deb. Thanks, Deb.
Joining us on Concord Law Enforcement this evening is Captain Warner. Thank you,
Expect me
Captain.
to follow that act?
It's always difficult.
It's
isn't
tough.
it?
Yes, it is.
It's tough.
Well, used to be I never had to follow that act. It was a lot easier, so I could do the PowerPoint, although we didn't have quite the arrangement here, and the person back there, like Rick, running everything. So, listen, they had 954 incidents and calls to the township. 14 of them were investigations and arrests. The juveniles that were involved in that fire that you guys had were arrested and taken care of, so it's a good working relationship between the fire investigation unit and the sheriff's office. Always has been and continues to be that way. They had 52 alarms, they had 6 injury accidents, 5 property damage accidents, 52 alarms, 10 citations, 148 warnings. So we're not out trying to give tickets, but we are trying to keep the speed limits in tow so that people follow the safety standards that are out there for traveling on the roadways. We had 3 operating a vehicle while intoxicated and 5 driving under suspension. 117 business checks and 100 crime prevention. So if you need more of that breakdown, Administrator Rose has the original copy. I just want to talk to you a little bit about that 911 that I heard the fire chief talk about. Call 911. Our dispatchers are trained. They're emergency medical dispatchers, which means they can help find out what's wrong with you and help diagnose a little bit on the phone in helping the first responders as they arrive at your property. And if you do think you have a problem with COVID or something, they'll ask you some questions and try to help the first responders and help you and put you at ease. Just this week, one of our dispatchers gave CPR instructions over the phone to help save somebody's life, which is, it's kind of neat to see that. Another thing that you can do is you can go to the sheriff's website or go online on your iPhone or your Droid and download the sheriff's app. So anytime there's a road closure, our sergeants at the desk at Central Dispatch will put it out over the air, so it not only goes to our app for an alert, it also goes to our Facebook page and Twitter account. Any questions?
No, that's, I've heard a lot of good feedback about the new Sheriff's Office app on social media about how informative it has been as far as road closures or things going on in the community to alert our, the residents to what's going on. So it's been very well received.
And our sergeants are now doing it right from the desk,
Right.
from the supervisor's desk.
So it's
which-
almost immediate
So
from when it comes in, when it goes out.
They're not calling me at 2 a.m. and saying, can you put this out? And I'm trying to do it while I'm half asleep. So it's very nice
good.
now. Sheriff's office says the reason he couldn't make it tonight, got a conflicting meeting tonight, so
Understandable.
you got stuck with me.
Always a pleasure. Thank you,
Pleasure.
Captain.
Good to see you, Captain.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll be moving on to our audience portion of the meeting this evening. I believe we only have one caller online, so if that caller would like to participate, you can do so now at this time by stating your name and address for the record, please. Okay, seeing that nobody on the phone is wanting to participate, we will in-house here. We have a couple residents. Does anybody want to come up to the podium? Sure, Mrs. Brewster.
Take off my mask here.
Yeah.
I get to breathe.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you got the segue from that one. And not me, but that was a nice segue for me, following the sheriff. I didn't see him here when I initially walked in and Miss Chief Warner. I have a concern about, and I've been hearing about it for over a month, about the issue of theft in Concord. I'm aware that, just from talking to some residents, that there was a rash of theft of, particular political signs related to the national election. I started hearing that. And then I understand that somebody was caught on that, and it immediately stopped until there was another one the other night, which I saw on Nextdoor. But at any rate, the reason I am here is because on this past Friday night, after 9 o'clock, there was a sign stolen on Girdle near Cryle. And this is the second time a large sign was taken. This is the same location where Andy Rose had told me we had to relocate a sign away from the site clearance of Cryle. And we did that, so we were purely on Mr. Lazuka's property. On this particular sign, since one was already taken, we put a private property sign on it that said that we had owner permission, so that people knew it was a legal sign. And so what happened is we put the sign up at 8 o'clock at night on Friday. I didn't, I was out of town. But the fact is, at 9 o'clock, a sheriff's cruiser went by because we could see it on the camera. We purposely put a camera up. And so we saw the sheriff's cruiser because you can see the lettering quite clearly. And it was after 9 o'clock, I'm not going to say exactly the time, that a truck pulled up. We can see the man with a PPE mask on in the driver's seat, shining a flashlight so whoever was taking the sign had lighting, and then walked off with the sign. After that, a large sign disappeared from Cryle, where all these other signs are, just that sign. And I'm not saying what sign it was. Another sign was taken from Girdle and Auburn. Then they continued up Girdle, and I suspect that's where probably Mr. Patterson had his damage. Then another 10 signs, smaller signs, disappeared around the township. You're talking $400 in signs. This is deliberate. They're cutting the zip ties, they're taking them, and the fact that there was such a rash on Friday night is ridiculous. I just feel that the residents, where does it stop? There's a culture out there for some reason that people think that they can just help themselves to signs. And I know they're very careful about taking signs off private property, but clearly we had a sign on the thing that said it was private property, and we had permission. So I guess what I want to say is that I feel it's unacceptable. We're in the process of identifying what we have on tape, or on the night camera vision. And, I just think it's a shame, because, I mean, I have been associated with school levies. I've for over 40 years in 3 different communities, and have never seen this kind of thing going on. And I will say that in the past 3 elections, whether they're for trustee or especially with this one, there's always theft of our signs. We don't do this. We just don't do this. We know how much it takes to buy those signs, and I just don't think it's right. So, where does it stop? I just feel that you need to know this is going on, and I just don't feel it's something that should be happening, especially to that amount of money.
Well, can I
Go ahead.
respond? Okay.
Yeah.
We certainly do not condone that type of activity. I can tell you from my years of operations at the Sheriff's Department, every election cycle, I dealt with complaints of similar nature of the theft of, political signs or issue signs or whatever it was. And we would do our best to try to, identify who's responsible when we could. I think there is a greater number of signs or that type of activity going on during this election cycle, just because it's so contentious nationally. You know what the climate is nationally.
Right.
I just think there's more people that are taking some type of action. We don't condone it. I mean, it's great if you have, the sheriff can do an excellent job. If there's video coverage of that, I urge you to file a report. If you have video surveillance of that, I urge you to turn it over to them so they can do an investigation and look into it. There's all kinds of different avenues. We don't condone it. I don't think it's unacceptable for anybody to be doing it, and it's inappropriate. I mean, we understand. It's hard for us to really get a gauge or monitor how much of it's going on. I was not aware of as much that you're saying to me. I didn't know that from the Sheriff's Department, I haven't gotten any information, but I know some of that happens. We don't condone it. It's not acceptable for whatever reason, whether it's an issue, whether it's a national election. Everybody's got a right to voice their opinion or place a sign, or as long as they have permission. And then the other side of it, I've got calls from people that say signs have been placed without permission. And I say, well, if they're on your property and they don't have your permission, then you have the authority to remove a sign from your property if you didn't grant permission. So, but we do not condone that activity. I don't think anybody here would.
No.
And if people are identified, then they'll be responsible for their actions.
Thanks for letting us know, and I guess I'll echo what Carl said. I mean, we don't condone it, and you and I actually had a conversation about that. I reached out and said, this is private property, and I've got permission to take it, but I offered you the chance to come retrieve it. So, it's unfortunate. I'm sad to hear that that's the case. I've observed, sign change all over the place, and we all drive around and we all have our political opinions of, Carl said, our candidates or issues, and you see signs, and it's all, I don't want to say, troubling is the right word, but we all get worked up about the issues and we see things. So I would also ask that we don't step to that level, and stealing signs is not. I don't condone that. We shouldn't be doing it. We should be leaving it alone. It's private property. Don't go into someone's property and take their signs. I mean, that's if it's owned property, and if you see a collection like that, you shouldn't be going out there and doing that. And I'm disappointed to hear that that's happening. So.
And I think it's been exacerbated, especially during this election cycle, just because of the climate nationally. I mean, I've seen it, driving to work in different communities. I see signs thrown out or tore, cut out, in sections, and it's not appropriate. We don't
Right.
believe in any of that.
Well, I am glad to see that you've,
It's hard to control.
yeah, well,
those
you didn't
solutions.
know about it, that's why I'm here.
Right. Oh,
Because
and
it
we-
just
we do
happened
want-
this past
and we-
Friday
and we
night.
do want to know.
Yeah, but the main thing is that you're not condoning it, and if you can at least put word out, because I'm hoping this is not an employee. Okay? I'm
Well,
just saying.
Okay.
I doubt that it is, but I'm hoping it's not.
Okay.
And so, but I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. You know, I think you made some comment before about just having, you know, respect, and especially on the next door thing, it was getting really intense with the comments and the shaming and all that. And there's still bits of that, but I'm glad to see that people are stepping up and say, hey, you know, stick to the issue, or, you know, and they're being a little more respectful, because I talked to many people that said, I had to get off of there, I cannot, that's unacceptable.
And I hear what you're saying, but and I do monitor that. I don't really participate much as an elected official.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I will tell you, again, we believe in being very professional
Mm-hmm.
during, you know, our duties and functions and what we believe in. People are entitled to their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that we have all taken the high road during this issue, and when we have commented, it's been appropriate, it hasn't been disrespectful.
Yeah.
But we can't control what other people say. I do tell you that I think we have all spoken with people and said, hey, we you know, everybody's got their own opinion, but we still need to maintain professionalism.
Exactly.
Everybody's got a right to their opinion, but we're going to be professional about it. We don't condone
Well,
that.
and I think regarding next door, I mean, I think we all know, and I ran into it last year, talked to people now, and when I was running for trustee a year ago, I was like, oh, that next door, you know, endless stream of comments about how it gets on there, and it's pretty much known around Concord what goes on when you get involved in a debate on that. And
Yeah.
you know, I try not to stay involved in that. If I see something, I think it's a, you know, factual statement, I'll try to stick with that. Carl said to pay attention for it. And it is, so, you know, we want everyone to be respectful, but I think to the point of people on their time and if they're independent, I mean, we only have so much influence on that. And,
Right.
and as far as the signs and all that go, it's not like, you know, we have the ability to do a heavy amount of enforcement in there. It is what it is. But I certainly would say on the record that you need to be respectful of people, and we need to respect things on private property.
Okay, and I know in, I think it was the last election, it was a candidate sign, and I saw it laying down where it was gonna get run over, and I walked it into the town hall, and they looked at me like, what are you doing with that sign? I was returning it. I don't destroy signs, you know, but the point is that, you know, if our signs are ever found, because in the last election, I think you know, some signs would be thrown in the woods. These have totally disappeared. But if any of them reappear, I would appreciate a call, please, because that's quite an investment. Okay.
We agree. I know that I've had people that have asked me for signs personally, and said, my sign's missing now. And my response is, you know, so that happens from election cycle to election cycle. We don't condone it. And we urge our residents not to participate in it.
Right. Okay, well, I appreciate it. And then just because you're going on further in the agenda, on the service department things, what account is that these purchases are made from? I know you're not Amy, but,
CARES Act.
pardon me?
CARES,
The CARES Act.
The CARES Act for the service department
correct.
purchases?
Correct.
Okay.
They fall within the criteria of the CARES Act funding that we received from the feds to the state, to the county, to us.
Okay, was that the recent 300-some thousand or
200.
No, that was round
206.
one. This is round two.
round two was 200,000?
No, ma'am. Round two is $654,192.90.
Okay. All right, and Ford Escape, is that like a truck for,
That is a vehicle for town hall administration that falls underneath the CARES Act.
okay. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can't leave until I ask
Anybody else wishing to participate in the audience portion? Okay, seeing as there none, we will move on into old business. Seeing that there's none, we'll move into our new business portion this evening.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the September financial report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item B is Resolution 2020-31. This is a permanent appropriations as of 10/7/2020, and I believe we need a roll call vote.
That is
for
correct.
Mr.
That'll be a roll call vote, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve Resolution 2020-31, permanent appropriations as of 10/7/2020.
I second.
Mr. Rose, roll call vote.
Roll call, Mrs. Lucci,
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mr. Dondorfer.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I vote to approve Fire Department motion to approve probationary firefighter EMT Basic Matthew Collins to regular status firefighter EMT Basic effective September 21st, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the PO, Fire Department PO in the amount of $19,872 to Mess Warren Fire Equipment for firefighting turnout gear.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I move to vote for the Service Department's PO in the amount of $42,415 to Classic Ford Lincoln for a F-350 pickup truck.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to approve the PO in the amount of $68,749 to Classic Ford Lincoln for a F-450 pickup truck.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye. I move to approve Service Department PO in the amount of $90,634 to VersaLift East for a F-550 bucket truck.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Move to approve the PO of $7,990 to Best Truck Equipment for 2 lift gates.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye. I move to approve Service Department PO in the amount of $12,655.68 to Enzo's Cleaning Solutions for a disinfecting hot steam pressure washer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Move to approve the PO in the amount of $30,940 to Classic Commercial Trucks for a 2020 Ford Escape.
I second.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to future meetings and announcements, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Dondorfer. Future meetings and announcements, Friday, October 9th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. will be the blood drive at the Concord Community Center. Monday, October 12th, township offices will be closed in observance of Columbus Day. Wednesday, October 14th at 7 p.m. will be the Board of Zoning and Appeals meeting. Saturday, October 17th, from 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. will be the Brush Days brush drop-off here at the Town Hall campus at the Service Department. Wednesday, October 21st at 6:30 p.m. will be trustee office hours, followed at 7:30 by the trustee meeting. Thursday, October 29th from 6 to 8 p.m. will be the Halloween hunt. And those details can be found on the township's website. And then as another reminder, on Saturday, October 31st from 6 to 8 p.m. is trick-or-treating. And that concludes future meetings and announcements, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Concord Township. That concludes our Board of Trustee meeting this evening, and we are adjourned.